And welcome to episode 7 of our Microsoft 365 AI webinars. This session is for anyone who's curious about using AI to help save time and make you more productive. My name is Ellen, and I'm joined today by Jessica, who will guide you through some exciting ways to use Copilot in Excel, both for your personal and work use. I'd love to hand this over now to Jessica. Jessica, welcome to our webinar today, and I will throw it to you to kick off our overview.
Thanks so much, Ellen. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here today, and I have the privilege of showing you some pretty cool stuff in Excel. Copilot in Excel is your AI-powered assistant that's built right into Excel. Copilot can help you create, analyze, visualize your data without leaving Excel or needing to know those complex formulas or advanced Excel skills like pivot tables. Today, I'm going to show you how to save time and jumpstart your projects, plus how to produce high-quality templates and analysis in minutes with Copilot in Excel. First, we're going to build and improve a personal budget. Second, we're going to modify a profit and loss statement. And finally, we're going to make sense of a ton of customer feedback in seconds using formula completion. A quick note before we get started. These demos are going to use some fictional data, and so they might appear unrealistic. We are illustrating how Copilot in Excel works. We're not making any claims or recommendations about how you should run your business. And as with all AI-generated content, we recommend that you review in detail to ensure those outputs are correct based on your intended purpose. And a quick note here that I'm going to show some prompts and some scenarios today, and replicating these scenarios might not get the same exact response or outputs. Copilot, like other conversational AI, adapts to the flow of the conversation, tone and context, which creates different outputs and different answers in your Copilot window. So with that, let's get into it. So let's start with where you find Copilot in Excel. So if you have a Copilot enabled license and you open up web or desktop, this is where you're going to find Copilot. So on the Home tab, you're going to look to your right and you're going to see this icon that says Copilot. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to open up a window to the right of your spreadsheet there. And so here you can see, you can enter a prompt, example here, press enter or select this arrow button. You can also select some of the preloaded prompts here. Now, what I'm also going to show today is what's called using agent capabilities. And using agent capabilities allows you to edit directly on your workbook. And so if I enable this mode here, called agent mode, Copilot Conversation will allow Copilot to edit directly on the workbook here. Just a quick note for premium subscribers, then you can go up here and you can select a model. So we're right where we need to be. I have agent mode selected. And I'm going to show you a scenario for how you might build a household budget. So I don't know where to start because I'm not an Excel expert. And I need a household budget because I want to go on a vacation. And so I want to see how I can save more for that vacation. So let's go through a scenario about how I might do that using Copilot. So I'm going to take my prompt and I'm going to type it in here. And I'm going to say, create a monthly budget for a household of 4 with a yearly income of $80,000 with structured categories and formatting to uncover key insights. So I'm going to push the arrow here, get it going. So here it's going to go through the agent mode reasoning. It's going to consider how to run the prompt there. So Copilot here is getting to work. It's understanding your goal, and sometimes it's going to ask follow-up questions. It's going to plan a multi-step approach. It's going to create directly in the workbook. It's going to verify and refine your results and explain each step as it goes. So with time in mind, Copilot's already created a household budget for me. So I'm going to flip to that now. Just talk you through it. So as you can see, Copilot created a household monthly budget as I asked it to. Up here, you can see a household size of 4 with an annual income of $80,000. I've highlighted a couple areas we'll focus our conversation on today. But as you can see, it created these categories, subcategories for my spending. It allowed a column for budgeted and actual, and it calculated columns E through G using formulas. So anything that I update in here with my budgeted and actual will be automatically updated with these beautiful formulas already created. Down here, let's look at the key spending insights. So it summed up many of my budget line items. It also created a category summary, and it has some nifty alerts and recommendations that I can look at here. So the first example I'm going to take you through is how we can modify this. So I noticed that my savings rate needs improvement. And the range is really around 10 to 15% I'm seeing down here. And I'm in luck. Let's just pretend I got a promotion. So I'm going to go up here and update this to 100,000. And let's watch how it updated the monthly income. It updated my summary down here. And it got even worse because I'm making more. So we definitely need to address this savings number here. So now I'm going to actually go in to my budgeted amount, and I'm going to look at my 401k. And let's pretend I double this, and we can watch the formulas update. So here we go. I'm in good standing now. Look at that. So 10 to 15% looks good. So that's just an example of how you continue to modify it for your own purposes. And you can copy and paste this and update it as you go.
So, Jessica, are you telling me that everything here, the categories, the subcategories, the allocations it's recommending, all came from you just putting in that one prompt with your annual salary, the number of people in your household, and all of this got spit out of just that?
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. So again, customizing it to your needs is something that you can do. And all of the formulas in here will update. You could even continue to have a dialogue with Copilot and refine it on the canvas. In the next scenario, we're actually going to show how that might work. Okay, now that we got the savings stuff settled, let's talk about the fun stuff. So Ellen, I'm curious, what's your favorite vacation spot?
It's supposed to be wherever I can afford, but in reality, it's usually a little bit beyond what I can afford. And then I kind of suffer for it for the rest of the year. Ideally, I'd like to go to London with my family maybe in 2 years. So we have time to save up for it. Love to see like Harrods in the wintertime or something, because I've never done that.
Amazing. So let's go ahead and figure out how we can save for this vacation to London. So I'm looking at my entertainment category. Let's add a new line item here. And let's call it vacation. London. Okay. So because I'm kind of frugal, Ellen, I think that we need to have a family agreement that we don't dine out for a little bit so that we can save for our vacation. So I'm going to go ahead and make that change here. And I'm going to copy my dining out into this new London entertainment savings vacation line. And I'm going to zero out that dining. We can always get back to this after the vacation. I love dining out. So here we can see that because of this, I was able to update it to 150, and it automatically calculated the totals, etc. But what I need to do next is think about how I'm going to complete columns E through G. And I'm going to use a new Formula AI feature called formula completion. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that can do. But before I do, formula completion takes into account the context of your spreadsheet, things like headers and nearby formulas. And when you do so, it's automatically going to suggest a formula that can automatically calculate what you want it to do without even describing it. So I'm going to go equals in the cell. It's going to think, you can see it thinking about the context in the workbook. And it suggests this calculate budget difference for vacation. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So it automatically did that here. And I'm just, for example, I'm going to do that in the other two cells. Calculate percent of income. Yes, I do. And this one's a little more tricky because that's conditional formatting. And it automatically says if, then, under, and it did it beautifully. So that's just one example of how I created and I continue to refine using agent capabilities and formula completion.
So if I decide like, okay, I do want to eat out a little bit, but maybe there's something else I can cut back, I just have to change the amounts in there or add a new line, and then everything will just auto calculate again using the formula AI thing you just showed.
Yes, that's right. That's the beautiful thing about having this natively in Excel, because all the formulas are built in already.
That's amazing. I can't believe that even like you don't have to know how to do any formulas and Copilot can just gather that from the context. That's amazing.
So the next demo I'm going to set up here. I'm a small coffee stand owner and I'm not an Excel expert, nor am I a business analyst, but I need a way to track my profit and loss in a more formal way than writing it down on a napkin. I also want to increase my profit margin, so I'm curious about pricing and specials that can help me do that. And so here again, I'm staring at a blank workbook. I don't know where to start, and I'm going to enlist the help of Copilot. So again, just to show you, Copilot in the top ribbon, I select agent mode from the tools menu because in this scenario, I wanted to edit my spreadsheet and add my profit and loss directly in the spreadsheet. So I'm going to go ahead and put my prompt in there. It says, create a P&L template to track sales for my coffee stand. Jess's Java. Include gross margin and net profit by item. Highlight a space for top 3 performers and use a weekly special plan with special names. Use estimates to show how it works. So we're going to run this prompt and we're going to watch it get to work here. It's going to understand my intent. It's going to plan a multi-step approach. It's going to start adding directly in the workbook, verifying it, refining the results. But again, for time's sake, we're going to flip over to the completed template here so that we can customize it. All right. So here's this beautiful P&L statement that Copilot created for me. As I requested, it included my profitability analysis, listing all my items for my coffee stand. It included an operating expenses section, a net profit summary section, the top 3 performers as I asked, and also this cool weekly special plan. So again, these are initial ideas. So I'm going to go in and start to think about how I want to customize it. So the first thing that I can see is actually want it to complete the total gross margin here. And so guess what? I'm going to turn my attention again to formula completion so that I don't have to write a formula. So I'm going to go equals in that cell, and it's going to make a suggestion of the formula. Calculate total gross margin for all items. That's exactly what I want. And boom, it's there. The next thing I think I want to customize is my labor and wages item because that's super cheap. I don't know anyone who gets labor for that cheap. So let's just update this and watch it as an example how it can update everything else. So 1,200, it updated my total expenses, it updated the operating expenses, and then it reduced my profit margin, sadly. But let's actually think about how we can increase that profit margin. For example, I'm turning my attention to this weekly special plan, and I'm noticing that I don't know how profitable these specials are, and I need a quick reference of that. And so I'm going to enlist the help again of Copilot. So I click on it from my top ribbon. I toggle on agent mode, and I copy and paste my prompt, add gross margin percent and columns to the weekly special plan. Okay, and I push go. So here it's going to have to refer back to the cost per unit to calculate gross margin. So it's going to use a VLOOKUP automatically and do the calculations for me and add it to the table. So I don't have to write a formula or anything. I'm using natural language to describe what I want it to do. So here you can see the alignment's kind of funky, so I'm going to fix that. But it did exactly what I asked, so we can show off kind of what Copilot told us it did. So it added 2 new columns, one as a gross margin. And like I said, it used a VLOOKUP to find the item cost, as well as calculated the margin percent there. So, and it says all these formulas are dynamic, so you can change the item or prices, and the formulas will update automatically. So I'm looking here, and with that new lens of profit margin, I'm seeing that this pastry item is the lowest item here, and I actually want to change that. So I'm thinking about changing it to a more profitable item. So I'm looking at my top 3 performers. I'm noticing latte drip coffee and mocha are already included. So I'm going to think about some other higher profit margin items. And it's looking like iced coffee is also there. And but cappuccino is not. So I'm thinking that I want to add cappuccino instead of pastry for a higher profit margin item. So I'm going to copy and paste again this prompt here. In weekly special plans, swap sweet Saturday treat with weekend wake up Americano. And let's watch it do its magic. I pushed enter there. It's running. It's going to, again, have to create a special price on its own. It's going to have to look up the total unit cost for Americano. And it's live updating. You can see it right now. It's adding, replacing, and it's complete. So let's review what it did. So here's a summary of changes. It changed sweet Saturday treat to weekend wake up. It automatically recalculated the gross margin from $1.25 to $2, like that much better. And so that margin percent increased to 80. So as you can see, this is just an example of how you can create and continue to modify this profit and loss for your example. But again, the beautiful thing is about this is that I created this in minutes and started using natural language to update all of the inputs and the formulas. It saved me so much time.
Yeah, and I also want to point out what I noticed is when you spit this out from the prompt and it made this beautiful sheet and you went into doing this swap that you just did, you didn't even need to tell it which cell had the information for the Americano. You just asked it to swap Americano and it just found it in the sheet and made the swap on its own. And I know in Excel, we're doing a lot of like locating like the column and the row and which and putting like the span of table items that they need to search in, and it just found it for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, using that VLOOKUP formula it created, it found the item cost, which is beautiful. Cool. Well, I'm gonna do the next and final demo for you today. And so carrying on with the coffee stand theme here, I'm the coffee owner and I have a comment box and I want to quickly understand the sentiment of all of my content. So I'm looking at this list of 105 comments and I want to quickly understand the overall sentiment of these comments without tagging them myself. So like I showed in the previous examples, here I'm going to use the formula completion formula AI item, and I'm going to start with equals, and it's going to generate a formula for me, and I'm going to push enter. And that automatically has proposed that it use an if-then statement, and will automatically read the sentiment of all my comments and produce a overall sentiment for them. So I'm going to drag and drop that across all 105. That just saved me a lot of time there. And now I want to quickly understand the sentiment distribution of these. And so I'm going to, again, enlist the help of Copilot. And I'm going to copy and paste this prompt, which is create a pie chart showing the distribution of sentiment for these comments. But first, let's make sure agent mode is on so that I can edit my workbook. And let's watch it do its magic here. So it's reasoning over this request. First, it's going to have to create a calculation of every single positive, neutral, and negative comment in a table. And then it's going to have to use that table to create the pie chart. And so give it a moment here and it'll produce that to the right of my feedback here.
I didn't even know Excel could take text feedback and make those types of buckets. I didn't know it had that kind of formula.
Yeah. So numbers and text. That's how formula completion can work.
That's pretty amazing. Can I ask you another question while we're waiting here?
Yeah.
You mentioned turning on agent mode a number of times because it can edit in the workbook itself. What happens if you don't turn on agent mode?
Yeah, that's a really good question. If you don't turn on agent mode, it's like a read-only conversational AI chat experience like you would have with ChatGPT or something, where it's just a one-to-one dialogue. It's not going to actually edit in the canvas. If you turn on agent mode, that allows you to, in your spreadsheet, have Copilot assist with your analysis or creation scenarios. And so it's real time updating whatever's on your spreadsheet. So it's a big advantage, especially if you have some more complex scenarios that you need to work through, like creating these P&L templates or a budget. It's a really good way to utilize agent capabilities.
That's great.
Awesome. So it created the sentiment counts here and then built this chart showing the total distribution of the positive, neutral, and negative. So this is something that I could easily share with my team to kind of show where we're at with our overall comments for a coffee stand and improve from there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You have only 16 negatives, Jessica.
But I only have 19 positives. Need to work on that.
Work on those neutrals.
Yeah. And just a quick note about where we're going. There's some pretty exciting things on the roadmap for Excel, including more ways to create formulas with AI, like I just showed you the formula completion, as well as agent capabilities becoming part of the default Copilot experience. So you no longer have to select agent mode from the tools menu. And that's it for the demo. So back to you, Ellen.
Okay. And we are ready we've been reviewing some of these questions. I have a couple here for you, Jessica. We'll start with an easy one. Why would I not be seeing Copilot in the menu?
So first thing is you have to save your files to be able to see Copilot in the menu. So to do that, you have to save it to OneDrive or an M365 SharePoint location with autosave turned on. And that will enable you to see the Copilot button.
Okay, perfect. Some questions about the experience of Copilot. Is it the same between, you were talking about desktop, is it the same between Windows and Mac versus the web?
Yeah, generally, you're going to get the same experience across Windows and Mac desktop apps and the web. So the things that I showed today are available on that. There's some differences between license type, but yes, generally available across desktop and web.
Okay, perfect. Do all subscribers get the same Excel Copilot features?
No, so I'll go through some of those details. So the basic subscribers don't have access to Copilot or advanced AI features. You have to be a personal, family, or premium subscriber, and there's some nuance there, so I'll get into that. So Copilot chat is included for personal, family subscription owners and premium subscribers. Using the agent capabilities like we just showed in the demo today, personal and family subscribers require an AI credit for each request or prompt with a 60 credit allocation per month. Premium subscribers, on the other hand, get extensive use of those agent capabilities beyond the 60 credits per month. And they also receive access to the Formula AI feature, like the formula completion that I showed you. And I did note that it's only available to premium subscribers.
Okay. Cool. There was a lot of questions on agent mode. So I know I asked one during the demo, but I think it would be super helpful to go through that again a little bit. So can we talk a little bit about you were in Copilot chat, and then you at one point toggled on agent mode. Can you kind of walk everyone through a little bit more?
Sure. So when you open Copilot chat, you're in a conversational natural language dialogue, right? And that cannot edit your canvas. But agent mode, if you toggle that on, it can. So that means if you go into the tools menu, you select agent mode on, you have that conversational dialogue in the chat window. It's going to be able to either create or refine directly on your spreadsheet. Without having that on, it won't. And so that's a really important difference to understand. In the future, I noted like what's coming up next. There is a future that you will no longer have to toggle. It will just, Copilot chat will understand your intent, and you will be able to refine and make edits on the spreadsheet.
Oh, great. So we won't even have to think about it.
Yeah. But for now, that's a distinction to keep in mind. So thanks for the question.
Very cool. And when you were using agent mode, there were just some different choices that you were showing there. Which one were you using?
Yeah, good question. There's a lot of talk about agents. Agents are everywhere these days, but specifically in Excel, I was using agent mode, which again, you can access through the tools menu.
Okay, so it's just called agent mode. That's very, very different.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, it allows you to edit your spreadsheet.
Great. So when you were going through your budget template as well as your P&L template, there were some folks asking, where is the data coming from? Like you just typed, give me a budget, and the data just appeared. Remember, like it was like the dining categories and all of this stuff, and there were just data in there. So where was the source of that?
Yeah, good question. So I kind of teed it up at the beginning of the demo where I'm going to use fictional data. So actually the ask was to create a template and use fictional data. So Copilot actually created that data for me. I didn't create it myself. I didn't ground on it. That was data that it created. Now, the point of creating a template is so that you can update it with your own data. And so I was using this fictional data as an example. But of course, in your particular scenarios, you're going to want to personalize that template for yourself or what we call as ground on a file. So in your prompt, you could reference a file that you wanted to create a template based on.
Perfect. Great. So I think that brings us to the end of today's session. So thank you so much, Jessica, for being here and giving us this demo on Excel. We hope we've given you some ways to get started with Copilot in Excel. So everyone have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and we'll see you next time.